So let's bring in Morley now, the longtime voice of the Eskimos. And how many years with the Oilers, Morley? 19?
16 with the Oilers and going into my 11th year with the Eskimos now.
Okay, so earlier on I called you the Deion Sanders of sportscasting in Canada, a two-sport guy. Can we start?
That just means I just fooled them twice, that's all.
Yeah, right, sure. Yeah, well, you're very good at it. Morley, your take, first of all, on the Eskimos team name. You seem to have some strong thoughts. Are you willing to unveil them today on where you stand?
My thought process on it is this. First, I'm in no position to comment if it's offensive or not, because it's not offensive to me, but I'm a middle-aged white man. It doesn't really matter what I think about this. I think the process has to go through the system, and they have to do their due diligence. They have to talk to the Inuit communities, which they have done, which they will continue to do, and then make a decision. It's really difficult for the Eskimos, I find, because the Redskins are dropping that name as they announced today. I don't think you could find people who would say that name's fine. That's a racist name. I don't think anybody doubts that. The Eskimos, we had it on our text line a little bit this morning and on our sports talk show last week when some news came out about it. It's really split. People are saying the Eskimos should change the name. People are saying, no, they shouldn't. Don't be bullied into it, or don't get talked into it. So it's really split. People, the Eskimos have heard everything from the Inuit community that they don't like it. Some say they're proud of the fact that they are named after the Inuit community. And there are season ticket holders who say change your name. There are season ticket holders who say, if you change your name, I'm not getting tickets anymore. So I find the Eskimos, more so than any other of the teams out there with what could be perceived as an offensive nickname, they're in a different situation than all of them, I think.
With your partner, Dave Campbell, because I've been following all of what you guys have been saying, the toughest part, and you may have been surprised to see what I said about the Eskimos, synonymous with class, which is true, but maybe surprised that I would say it, but it's true. We've always been treated first class. Since I started in this league in 1999, they've always, whatever you need, you've got it. It was no hidden agenda. They just operate with class. And it hurts to see them getting kicked in the shins here right now. I got that sense from Dave. Do you feel that way?
Yeah. A little bit, but they're basically in a no-win situation, because they're going to, if they don't change their name, they're going to hear an awful lot about it. And if they do change their name, they're going to hear an awful lot about it as well. It's not like, Washington made their announcement this morning and it was just, it's about time. Everyone's going, it's about time. Finally. Why did it take this long? If the Eskimos change their name, they're going to get hit from people who don't want them to change their name. If they do change it, they're going to get hit from the other side too. So they can't win in this, and they just have to figure out a way to get through it, make it manageable, and get on with business.
So, to funner topics, although it might not be that much fun, do we see CFL playing games in 2020?
I don't know how you feel, Rod. I feel every day I'm different. Some days I wake up and I think comments or hear some quotes and think, yeah, maybe it's possible. Then I see some other things later in the day and go, oh, this is never going to happen. I really don't know what to think. I think they want to. I think the general consensus has always been they're going to lose a lot of money if they don't play. They'll lose a little bit less if they do play, and they'll also, keep themselves out in the marketplace, keep themselves in the minds of fans, give the fans something to remember them by for coming back in 2021. So I think they're going to try. 6 games is tough. That's not a lot of football. The expanded playoff format, I guess, will help them a little bit. And then, of course, there's the thought process that maybe by the time they go to the playoffs in November, maybe we'll be in a position in the world where we can have some fans in the stands and everybody can go home and play their games in their own stadium with some limited fan access and participation. I don't know. It changes every day. I know Iraq is now a lot less from the federal government, and I think 40-some million is a lot easier to get 50 million. I think we can all agree on that. So maybe there's a chance, but I mean, it's an awful expensive endeavor to go set up in one city and house 9 teams and feed 9 teams and their staff and play the football games. It's going to cost an awful lot of money to do it. So they're going to need some help for sure.
I just read Sunday that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to play to 25% capacity as it stands now. And you know what a lot of this comes down to is the leaders of the government in these particular areas. What risk are you willing to play with, right? So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Morley, if you're ready to move on to NHL, or it's a mindset. Quebec University football is playing because they're saying, we're doing it. We don't care what you think. The rest of the country isn't. You know what I mean? It's all what you're willing to risk, I guess.
And Montreal and Quebec's been hit pretty hard by it. So they've got a lot more to deal with than we do in Edmonton, Regina, and Winnipeg, which are doing pretty well as far as the COVID numbers are concerned. So they've got more to worry about, not just getting on the field, but I mean, it's not a good situation as far as the virus goes in Quebec. So I don't know. I think I've talked to Randy Ambrosi a couple of times since this all started, and I think that he wants to do whatever he can to get the game on the field, and that's the most important thing for him, in a safe manner, of course, and make sure that everybody's looked after properly. He wants the game to be on the field, and at the very least, he's going to exhaust, and the league will exhaust every effort to do that.
He's been very forthright and upfront in those interviews with you that I've seen, which I think is really cool. But that's Randy. By the way, he was on the 93 Grey Cup champion Eskimos, right? Is he still heralded up there as one of the Edmonton football greats?
Yeah, he is. You know, he won a Grey Cup here, so he'll always be remembered. And I know whenever he's been in Edmonton for games, he's always brought up the fact that he played in Edmonton. And of course, Blake Dermott works on our broadcasts with us, and they were teammates together. So usually when Randy comes on the pregame show, we end up talking a lot about his time in Edmonton with the Eskimos, because those two are so close and go back a long way. So yeah, he's proud to be an Eskimo for sure.
Edmonton is an NHL hub city. Is the city puffing its chest out that they are one? It would seem that they are.
I'm on lockdown. I'm in quarantine. I don't know what's going on out there, man. I've been sitting in my office doing sportscasts for 4 months now, so I don't know. But it's kind of a weird situation because everybody's, it's kind of cool, but it doesn't matter, right? You're still going to watch the game from your couch. Whether the game's being played in Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg, Dallas, Los Angeles, wherever. You're still going to watch it from your couch. You can't go to the games. I think the people who are most happiest about it are the hotels and the restaurants are going to get a lot of business from this. Other than that, it really has no effect on anybody whatsoever, other than when you're going to watch the opening of the games, you're going to see a nice, beautiful shot of the river valley as they go inside to talk to the announcers. So other than that, there's not really any effect, I don't think, on people. A lot of people are concerned because they're thinking people are going to bring the virus with them into the city. There was a lot of concern at first about the fact that the players are going to use up tests that would normally go to regular citizens in Edmonton. That, of course, is not the case. And the NHL is bringing their own tests in, and they're paying for their own tests. So that's not really a factor in it. But there was some concern and not really a lot of elation because there's nothing really you can do about it, right? You can watch it on TV just like if it was anywhere else.
Last question, how far can the Edmonton Oilers go in these Stanley Cup playoffs?
Like any team in the playoffs, they'll go as far as their goaltending will take them. My concern is they have two older goaltenders. They haven't played for a long time. Hopefully one of them, for the Oilers' sake, can get hot early, and that's going to be the key. I'm really fascinated, Rod, to see, like last season was a long time ago. This season was 4 months ago. I mean, this is a longer break in the pause than most players have ever had in their life off skates. Who's going to care? Who was having a good year when March 12th hit, and can they continue that momentum? Are good teams on March 11th still good teams now? That's, to me, is going to be fascinating to watch play out, to see who can pick up the momentum, if it's even possible, from back in March. And younger teams might have an advantage in that, and the Oilers fit into that category because they got a lot of younger players who are their best players, but it's going to be like everybody else. You're going to go as far as your goaltending takes you in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, you talk about young. Look, I love the Oilers. We had Ethan Bear right in this building doing an interview with him, and how could you not love that kid? But he's young. And I'll tell you this, December 27th, Morley, I took my whole family to Edmonton, checked into a downtown hotel, went early for a meal in the Ice District, got ready for the Oilers and the Flames. You remember the game. The rinks packed, first time in Rogers Place. This is amazing. It was a Grey Cup, but it was just a regular NHL regular season game. And 12 seconds into the game, thump over Mike Smith's shoulder, and I'm like, it was over. And I'm like, you guys weren't ready to play. You are not mature enough as a hockey club, and you are not going to be a Stanley Cup contender if you can't, in the biggest game, Battle of Alberta, get your act together. Now, there was, some pretty wild games the rest of the way between the two clubs. But I don't think they're mature enough, Morley. They have the talent. The Jets have gone further. They're older. That's my take. I love these Oilers, but I just don't think they're mature enough.
I like the Jets too. I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with in the Western playoffs for sure. They're big. They got a little playoff experience still, and they got a goaltender who, again, we go back to that. It was 4 months ago, I know, but they got a goaltender who was having a really good season and will be in consideration for the Hart Trophy. Really, I think that's how good he's been this year.
Well, at least they're playing, right? So we'll find out who's right. Morley, thanks for the visit. Miss you, brother, but hope to see you soon, and all the best for you as we do get back at some point.
Good to talk, Rod. Thanks very much. Stay safe.
As always, Morley Scott joining us, the voice of the Edmonton Eskimos from 630 CHED. And look, in the back of my mind, Dupes, I think it's a little hasty to jump on the Oilers for one goal 12 seconds into a game, but it to me, it's a sign. I think I've watched enough hockey to know you just don't have it this year.
If it happens once, it can happen again, right? But you just know. You're a hockey guy through and through, and you know. You have that feeling.
When you know.
Right? And it's things that can't be explained. But when you know, you know.
Well, I watch as many or more Golden Knights games as I do Oilers. They have their stuff locked down. That stuff doesn't happen.
No.
That's all.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.